ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपीश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। सप्तकंचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 3, verse number 14. Ko va iha te parajito parajitaya mayayana vishta पदव्या नावृता मतिर् विषया विषया नावृता प्रकृतिर अनुपासिता महच्चरणः. So this is we can't have a proper tune for this, so we can just recite the way we can do it best. को वा इहा ते परि पराजितो पराजितया. को वा इहा ते पराजितो पराजिताया. मायया अनविष्ट पदव्या नवृता मतिर् विषया विषरया नावृता प्रकृतिर् अनुपासिता महच्चरणः. को वा इहा ते पराजितो पराजिताया. मायया नाविष्ट वसिता पदवया नावृता मतिर् विषया विषरया नावृता प्रकृतिर् अनुपासिता महच्चरणः. Second try. Hare. को वा इहा ते पराजितो पराजिताया. मायया न वसिता पद नावृता मतिर् विषया नावृता प्रकृतिर् पासिता महच्चरणः. को वा इहा ते पराजितो पराजिताया. मायया न विस्थिता पदावया न कृता मतिर् विषया विषावृता प्रकृतिर् अनुपासिता महच्चरणः. को वा इहा ते पराजितो पराजिताया. मायया न विस्थिता पदया मतिर् अनुपासिता महच्चरणः.
को वा
पराजितो पराजिताया. पदावना मतिर् So we'll also allow devotees joining us through Zoom, about maybe 3 devotees. They can chant the verse as well.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I am trying.
Yes, Prabhu.
O Vaihote Parajito Parajitaya Mayayana Boshito Potopyana Vritomoti Vishaya Vishayrana Vrito Prakriti Anupashito Mahacharanaha. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Kuba ihate অপরাজিত অপরাজিতয়া মায়য়া নবসিত পদব্যানবৃত মতির বিষয় বিষরয়ানাবৃত প্রকৃতির অনুপাসিত মহচ্চরণ হরে কৃষ্ণ
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. O Vaihate Parajito Parajitaya Mayayana Vasita Padvayana Arvata Avrittamatir Vishaya Vishrayana Avrita Prakritir Anupashite Macharana. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
হরে কৃষ্ণ প্রভু ধন্যবাদ প্রণাম আই এম অলসো ট্রাইং
Okay.
কবা ইহতে অপরাজিত অপরাজিতয়া মায়য়া অনবসিত পদব্য অনাবৃত মতি বিষয় বিষরয় অনাবৃত প্রকৃতি অনুপাসিত মহচ্চরণ হরে কৃষ্ণ
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna
Prabhu.
Prabhu, can I try to?
Okay, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can I try?
Yes, Mataji.
Kova ihate parajito aparajitya maya navasit padvyana britmatir visharya vrit prakriti anupasita mahacharna. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, Kava, who is that person? Iha, within this material world, say, of your lordship, aparajita, not conquered, aparajitaya, by the unconquerable, mayaya, illusory energy, anavasita padavya, anavasita padavya, whose path cannot be ascertained. Anavrita matihi, whose intelligence is not bewildered. Vishaya wish, of material enjoyment, which is like poison. Raya, by the course. Anavrita, not covered. Prakriti, whose nature. Anupasita, without worshipping. Mahat Charanaha, the lotus feet of great devotees. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dear Lord, unless one worships the lotus feet of great devotees, one will be conquered by the illusory energy, and his intelligence will be bewildered. Indeed, who has not been carried away by the waves of material enjoyment which are like poison. Your illusory energy is unconquerable. No one can see the path of this material energy or tell how it is working. Support by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. Maharaj Nabi was inclined, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Maharaj Nabi was inclined to performing great sacrifices for begetting a son. The son might be as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but such a material desire, be it great or insignificant, is brought about by the influence of Maya. A devotee does not at all desire anything for sense gratification. Devotion is therefore explained as devoid of material desires. Anya bhilasita sunyam. Everyone is subjected to the influence of Maya and entangled in all kinds of material desire, and Maharaj Nabi was no exception. Freedom from Maya's influence is possible when one engages in the service of the great devotees, Mahacharana Seva. Without worshipping the lotus feet of a great devotee, one cannot be freed from Maya's influence. Sri Narottam Das Thakur therefore says, Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Paiche Keba. Who has been freed from Maya's clutches without saving the lotus feet of a Vaishnava? Maya is a parajita, and her influence is also a parajita, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Deiviyesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Durateya Mamevaya Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. This divine energy of mind, consisting of three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. Only a devotee can surpass Maya's great influence. It was no fault on Maharaj Nabi's part that he wanted a son. He wanted a son like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the best of all sons. By the association of the Lord's devotee, one no longer desires material opulence. This is confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 22 and verse number 54. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Say, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. And Madhya Lila, 22nd chapter, 51st verse, Mahat Kripa Vina, Kon Karme, Bhakti Nae, Krishna Bhakti Dure Rahu, Samsara Nahe Chay. If one is serious about escaping Maya's influence and returning home, back to Godhead, one must associate with a sadhu, a devotee. This is the verdict of all scriptures. By the slight association of a devotee, one can be freed from the clutches of Maya. Without the mercy of a pure devotee, one cannot get freedom by any means. Certainly, a pure devotee's association is necessary in order to obtain the loving service of the Lord. One cannot be freed from Maya's clutches without sadhu sangha. The benediction of a great devotee. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj says, Naisham matir tavad urukramang grim prishyatyana anartapa gamo yad artaha mahisham padarajobhishekam niskinchana namna vrinita yavat. One cannot become the Lord's pure devotee without taking the dust of a great devotee on his head. Pada Raja Bhishekam. A pure devotee is Niskinchana. He has no material desire to enjoy the material world. One has to take shelter of such a pure devotee in order to attain his qualities. The pure devotee is always free from the clutches of Maya and her influence. Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bhutale Srimate Radha Govinda Goswami Niti Namine. Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prithya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschata Desharine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, Hare Krishna devotees, thank you for joining us today for the Srimad Bhagavatam class, and also all the devotees are joining us through Zoom as well. Thank you for joining us. So here, in the previous verses, we saw how the Brahmanas are praying to the Lord, and the Lord has appeared in that sacrifice which was performed by the Brahmanas on behalf of Navi Maharaj. And Navi Maharaj is the son of Agnidra, and Agnidra is one of the sons of Priyavrat Maharaj. So Priyavrat Maharaj, we know, was a great devotee of the Lord, and he did not want to accept the kingdom, but just because Manu Maharaj asked him to accept, and Lord Brahma asked him to accept the kingdom. Of course, his father also, who was Swayambhu Manu, also asked him, and eventually he accepted the kingdom. But he had no interest at all in the kingdom. Although he was older of the two brothers, Uttanpad and Priyavrat, so out of them he was older, but he decided not to take up the kingdom. But later on, when there was no qualified person available to take up the kingdom, then Brahma actually requested him to accept the kingdom, and he did accept. And then he had 13 sons and one daughter, and of the 13 sons from the two wives, 13 sons and one daughter, 3 of them became Manus later on. So the 3 of them became Manus, like Uttam, Tamas, and Revat. They later on became Manus, and 3 of them actually accepted the renounced order of life. They became sannyasis, and then 7 of them, 7 sons, became the rulers of the 7 islands, like Jambudvip and other dweeps. They became the rulers, and then we know that we are discussing now about of course, one of the daughters was married to Shukracharya because they had only one daughter, and it's mentioned that that Shukracharya and the daughter of Priyavrat Maharaj, they gave birth to Devyani, who was later married to Yayati Maharaj. And so the Yayati Maharaj story is also given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's the background who Priyavrat Maharaj is. And so Priyavrat Maharaj's son was Agnidra, and now we are discussing about Agnidra's son, Navi Maharaj. And Navi Maharaj is performing a yajna, and all the Brahmanas, when Lord appeared, they glorified the Lord with very nice prayers. And in the last verse, we discussed how in verse number 13, so they actually prayed on behalf, the Brahmanas actually prayed on behalf of Nabi Maharaj for a son like the Lord. And then they are also, while they are asking the Lord for this benediction, having a son like him for Nabi Maharaj, they're also pointing out a fault, that this is very much like asking a very rich man for some a little husk. You go to a very rich person and you can ask so much from that rich person, but you just ask for some husk or some paddy, grains or whatever, something like that. So it's just like that. And of course, Lord can offer the most exalted position, capable of doing that, but then you're asking something very, very little. He can even give his own abode, but someone is asking something very, very insignificant from the Lord. And then now in this verse, it is mentioned why sometimes people actually come, why actually people ask Lord for so many different things. Why do they ask Lord for not Lord, but something that might take them away from the Lord? What is the reason for that? Yes, that's definitely there. And we see that, of course, Duryodhana and Arjuna both went to the Lord. But one accepted the Lord, one accepted, Lord's army, Lord's Sena. One accepting the Lord, one accepting Lord's things, that which belongs to the Lord, his army. And he was very happy with that, thinking that that is the greatest achievement. And this is, I'm so happy that I'm going to fight a battle. We're going to fight with the Pandavas, and we have got something very, very significant. What is the use of having Krishna who will not fight? And it's better to have the soldiers who will fight, because it's going to be a battle. What is the use of taking someone who will not fight at all? It's better to have the whole Sena, the whole military, Narayani Sena, who will actually fight on behalf of me, not knowing that if you choose Krishna, then you have everything. And Krishna says that anyone who actually takes shelter of me, ananischintayanto mame jana paripasate tesham nitya viyuktanam yogshimam mahamyaham. Anyone who actually remembers me or thinks about me or takes shelter of me, I give what they don't have. I provide what they lack. I preserve what they have. So if there is any thing that the Pandavas are lacking, then the Krishna actually provides them if Krishna is on their side. But of course, Duryodhana doesn't know this. Duryodhana thinks that we have got whatever we wanted. And that is Krishna's Narayani Sena, which was very powerful army. So here, what happens? Why people actually choose not Krishna, but something different? Then it's mentioned here, Ko va iha te aparajito. Aparajita. Ko va means ka vaha. Ka vaha means who is that person? Iha in this world, who ka va, ko va, iha in this world, te parajita. Parajita means, what is the meaning of parajita? Who is that person who is not conquered? Who is that person who is not conquered? Parajit means conquered. Aparajita means one who is unconquered. Who is that person who is not conquered by Maya? Maya means the illusory energy of the Lord. Who is that person who is not conquered by the illusory of energy of the Lord? And what is the thing about the illusory energy of the Lord, it is aparajitaya. Aparajitaya means Maya is unconquerable. Who is that person who is not conquered by the Maya, which is unconquerable? Not easy, of course. That's why Lord Krishna and Prabhupada taught that verse, that it is very, very hard to conquer Maya. Daiviyasha gunamayi mama Maya duratyaya. Duratyaya means it's very, 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 very difficult. It's not easy. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is saying Duratyaya. Here it is mentioned as unconquerable, aparajitaya. Parajitaya means jisko parajit kiya ja sakta. One which can be conquered. But here it is aparajitaya, that which is unconquerable. And also, the other thing about this is anavasita padavya. Padavya means you cannot ascertain it. What it's going to do, you never know. And in which form it will come, you never know. That's why Prabhupada writes here, no one can see the path of this material energy or Maya or tell how it is working. It can come in different forms. You may take up the process of devotional service and you start getting a lot of wealth. And you're saying, oh, this is Krishna's blessings, Krishna's mercy. The wealth is coming because Krishna wants me to become wealthy. But then you get too entangled with getting all the riches that you forget about devotional service at all. That Maya is coming in the form of wealth to distract you from Krishna. Actually, the wealth is being given by Maya, not by Krishna there. And you think, oh, Krishna doesn't want any devotee to go away from him. But Krishna also has that Maya who will be testing us all the time. That's why Sugriv was given the opulence. Sugriv was given the kingdom. Sugriv got his wife back. He got his wife back, Ruma. But then he forgot about the Lord. He forgot that he had promised to the Lord that he was going to serve him. For Jamil, it came in the form of a prostitute. He got attracted to the prostitute. And that took him away from all the services that he was doing as a Brahmana. It came in a different form. And we can say that for the Maya Sita, that Maya came in the form of a deer, the golden deer, which took Sita away from, that illusory Sita away from, that illusory energy took the illusory Sita away from the Lord, and had to stay away from the Lord for some time. Isn't it true? So Maya can come in different forms. For many, we see that Vishwamitra was performing very, very severe austerities, and a beautiful Apsara came, Menka, and he got attracted to Menka and he forgot about his whatever he was doing. Right? It took that, and we can see for in the Ramayana, there is a very nice story which is mentioned. The Lord Ramachandra is telling, so Lord Ramachandra has got his weapon, bow and arrow, he's keeping it. And then Sita ji says that, why do you always have to keep the bow and arrow? Because if you keep it, then you'll use it. Sometimes they say that if you want to learn to drive, then you need to have a car. If you need to learn archery, then you need to have the bow and arrow. Well, they say like that. So because when you have it, then you'll use it. But of course, we need to understand also that if you are not intelligent enough, then that can put you into trouble as well. Let's say you have a car, but you don't know how to drive. But if you drive, then you can be in trouble. You can even kill yourself. So Lord Indra actually, when he saw that one sage was performing very, very severe austerities, what he did is he just brought one sword. Sitaji is actually telling this story to Lord Ramachandra. He brought one sword and gave it to this person. You keep it, I will take it later. And he was performing very, very severe austerities. Lord Indra thought, okay, I have to use something else to distract this person. So he gave him a sword, and then he saw that the sword was very, very nice sword. And this person was actually in the forest. He thought, I will try cutting some branches, some tree branches. And he just touched, and very nicely it will cut. And then tried thicker branches, then it will cut. It was just better than a chainsaw, that sword, you know. And then he thought, let me try on some animal. And he started killing animals in the forest. And he became a very sinful person. And then he forgot that his goal of life was to become a devotee. He got distracted. So these distractions might come in different forms. And these are all the Maya's work, which cannot be ascertained, which cannot be known, not easy to know. That's why it's mentioned that anavasita padavya, what which no one can see the path of this material energy or tell how it is working. Really don't know how it is working. But of course, a surrendered devotee knows that if something is distracting me from devotion to Krishna, taking me away from Krishna, this is actually not actually arrangement of Krishna, but arrangement of Maya. This is an arrangement of Maya. I remember, many years ago, there was one. We actually joined roughly at the same time, about roughly, I would say, more than 30 years ago from now. We joined. We started taking interest in Krishna consciousness. So this person was coming to the temple, was very much interested, and but he was coming to the temple because he did not have a child. They had been married for many years, but they did not have a child. But then he started coming, and then he got a child. Right? He started coming to the temple, he got a child. And then after that, we don't see him in the temple at all. He's so busy looking after the child, and still he hasn't become a devotee yet. This is another way in which Maya actually comes. We have to be very, very intelligent. We have to always take shelter of the devotees and see whether we are actually making progress or not. So that's why it is mentioned that who is that person who is not conquered by this unconquerable illusory energy of the Lord. Right? Aparajitaya. Aparajitaya means unconquerable. And whose Maya is actually, we can't understand how it is operating. It can operate in different ways. It can change its form, it can change its activity, and we wouldn't even know. We are thinking, oh, everything is good happening. But we are just distracted. We are just distracted from the actual path that we should accept. So, and then it's also mentioned that the other thing is anavrita matir, whose intelligence is not bewildered, and then Vishaya, Vish. So all these different things are mentioned. Vishay means, what is the meaning of vish? Poison. The vishay is like vish, poison. Vishaya, vish. What is vishay? Vishay is the sense enjoyment, right? There is indriya. Indriya means the senses. And the vishay means the object of the senses. Like for the eyes, it is different form. That's vishay. For the eyes, the vishay is the form. For the tongue, it is taste. That's vishay. Right? For the nose, it is the smell. For the ears, it is the sound. For the skin, it is the touch. So that is vishay. Right? That's vishay. For every indriya, or for every sense organ, there is the object of the sense. Right? And for each sense organ, there are so many objects of objects, and there's so many different kinds of vishay. Right? For the eyes, there are different forms to see. Some people like good, beautiful, good-looking people. Some people like good scenery. Some people like all different kinds of things which your eyes like seeing. That's the vishay for the eyes. Right? So here, vishay, bish. Vishay is like a bish because it is so dangerous that it can kill us. Vishay. And by being influenced by Maya, we get interested in the sense enjoyment. Instead of using our senses in the service of the Lord, we use our senses in our own enjoyment. Instead of giving enjoyment to the Lord, we use our senses in our own enjoyment. So every sense organ could be engaged, right? So when it is engaged for one's own enjoyment, then it is very, very dangerous. It's a wish, poisonous. But of course, the same senses could also be engaged in the service of the Lord. When we use the tongue for Sankirtan, Leela Sankirtan, Nam Sankirtan, Gun Sankirtan, Roop Sankirtan, right? When we describe the beautiful pastimes of the Lord, when we describe the great qualities of the Lord, we describe the beautiful form of the Lord, right? When we chant His name with the tongue, then that actually is not wish, right? But otherwise, the tongue is engaged in the sense enjoyment. That's bish, bishaya bish. Ears could be used in hearing about the Lord, hearing the name of the Lord, hearing the pastimes of the Lord, hearing about the great qualities of the Lord, hearing the nice description of his form, right? So it could be used, and when we use it in that way, then we are actually not being influenced by that maya, vishay, right? We are not influenced by that. It's not sense enjoyment, but that is engaging the senses in the service of the Lord to get that higher taste. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. So because that is getting higher taste. That is using the senses in the service of the Lord. And that is why we have been given this body. That is why we have been given these senses. This is why we have been given this subtle body and the mind, intelligence, and false ego, and everything, mind, intelligence. All this is actually meant for the service of the Lord. But here, Vishya, and also Vish actually kills. And we can see in the Srimad Bhagavatam where it is mentioned that that one this is actually in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where the 24 spiritual masters are given of that Avadut Brahmana, Dattatreya. Prithvi, Vayura, Akasha, Mapo, Agnis, Chandrama, Ravi, and all these are different gurus. Kapoto, Ajgara, Sandhu, Patango, Madhukrit, Gajaha, Madhuha, Harino, Minaha, Kumari, Sarakrit, Sarpaha, Pingala, and all these different gurus are there. And one of the 5 gurus he accepts are the 5 different animals which actually lose their lives, 5 different living beings which lose their lives because of sense gratification. Eyes, uncontrolled eyes, one animal loses its life. Which one was that? No, not deer. The moth, patang. Patango madhukrit gajaha. So patang is a moth. Sees the fire, gets attracted to the fire, goes near the fire. The attraction, because of attraction to the form, goes near the fire. He's got very, very soft wings. Goes near the fire, but keeps going to the near the fire, not thinking that, doesn't have that intelligence to realize, or is just more interested in that form and not even caring about his own life. Just goes near that, and the soft wings actually burn fat. When it goes near the fire, the soft wings burn, and they fall in the fire and they lose their life. Just like when there is wish, there's sure death. Similarly, you can see that this patang loses its life because of uncontrolled sense of seeing. Right, the sight. We see that because of the tongue, uncontrolled tongue, it is said this tongue is very, very hard to control. It is mentioned in we know that we always recite this Bhagavatam prayer, and this Prasadam prayer. What do we say? Sharira Vidya Jal. Sharira is the network of avidya, ignorance, this body. It is a network of ignorance, like Jal. Jal actually, catches different things, it's a net. Sharira Vidya Jal, avidya ka Jal. And then many things get trapped in the Jal. Right? So, Sharira Vidya Jal, so living entity also gets trapped in this Jal. We get trapped. How? It is mentioned, Sharira Vidya Jal, Jadendriya Tahe Kal. Jad Indriya, the senses are like Kal, death. Senses are like Kal. So, Sharira Vidya, Jad Indriya means the gross senses, which are in this gross body. Jadendriya Tahe Kal. Jive Fele Visaya Sagare. This is the thing which is actually making us fall in this Visaya Sagar, material existence. Vishaya Sagare. This is material existence, and it is all because of our uncontrolled senses that we have fallen into this material world, this material existence. Jiva Fele, Jiva means the living entity. Fele Visaya Sagare, have fallen into this ocean of material existence. So Sharira Vidya Jal, Jadendri Tahe Kal, Jiva Fele Visaya Sagare. Tara Madhya Jiva Ati Lobh Maya Sudurmati. Out of all the senses, Jiva, the tongue, Ati Lobh Maya Sudurmati. Ati Lobh Maya means I have taken breakfast, I should be satisfied. No. Lunch, not satisfied yet. Dinner, not satisfied yet. Some snacks before I sleep. And then before I sleep, I start already thinking about tomorrow. What will I eat? And what will I eat for the next week? So I look at even you wouldn't believe during the COVID when there was lockdown, people were fighting for small items. They were filling up their trolleys and thinking, what will happen? What will happen? What will happen? What will happen tomorrow? And they're even fighting with each other. No, I should take this one. Why you have taken, put it in your trolley? You know, I should get this. And they were fighting. And you go to the supermarket, you see how much food they put in the trolley. It's how much they take. And how much have we eaten? How many years have we have been eating? And if you ask the tongue, are you satisfied now? No. It is lobomai. It's very greedy. More, more, more. This item, that item, that item, that item. No, no satisfaction. It is lobomai. How many kilograms, how many tons of food we have eaten? But now, if you ask the tongue, okay, one day, Ekadasi, just control it. Control yourself. No, no, no control. Kuch to khana chahiye na. So, lobumai sudurmati means there's no discrimination, there's no proper intelligence of the tongue. So, lobumai sudurmati. But, what is that? What? Krishna bada? Krishna bada dayamai puri bara jiyo day. But Krishna has given a means by which we can control the tongue because he's very, very merciful. Krishna bada dayamai, not less merciful, very merciful because he has given prasadam. Krishna bada dayamai puri bara jiva jay. You know, he controlled the tongue. Jiva jay means conquer. Jay karo, parajay. Prasadana Dilobai, Siyanamrita Power, Radha Krishna Gunagan, all the prayers are there. But the thing is, it is giving us how we can, you know, how tongue is so hard to control. And it is out of all the different senses, the tongue is hardest to control. Right? Very hard to control. And in the Bhagavatam, in the 11th canto, it is mentioned when this katha on the 24 gurus is mentioned, it is mentioned that if one is not having his tongue control, then such a person cannot be called Jitendriya. One only becomes a Jitendriya after the tongue is controlled. Because once the tongue is controlled, all other senses will be controlled. It's easy to control other senses when the tongue is controlled. That's why we know that whenever anyone went to perform austerities, the first thing they did was control the tongue, eating control. You see, they started eating this, and then after that they gave up this, then after that they gave up this, after they gave up this, because they're controlling the tongue. If you control the tongue, then all the other senses start coming under control. Hardest to control. So, of course, you have the fish. There's so much. Fish is the animal which actually loses its life because of uncontrolled tongue. Of course, we can talk so much about these things, but we don't have that much of time. But we have the fish which loses its life because of uncontrolled tongue. We have the moth, patang, which loses its life because of uncontrolled sense of seeing, right? The sight, attraction to the form. We see there's a deer which loses its life because of attracted to the nice song. It runs towards the nice singing. So the people who hunters, they take good singers with them, sometimes young children, or they'll sing very nicely, and then deer comes running, gets attracted, and the hunter shoots. Right? And then there's also the elephant, which is loses its life, becomes under the control because of the sense of touch. You know, we know how they trap elephants, and we also have another last one, which is because of uncontrolled nose smell. There is one animal which loses its life. It's attracted to the smell of the lotus and goes and just stays in the lotus, doesn't leave the lotus, and the lotus gets closed at the end of the day, and some animal comes and eats the lotus and then loses its life. So that's why it's like a wish. So Vishaya wish. and then all these different verses Prabhupada actually has described very nicely. And then, but the thing is, the important thing is to understand in this verse is that anupasita mahacharanaha, without taking shelter or without worshipping the lotus feet of great devotees, we actually cannot get freed from the influence of Maya. How will they actually engage? How will they free us from the Maya? How will the great devotees free us from the influence of Maya? Yes, through their instructions, association, instructions, the knowledge, and then by that we can get freed from the Maya when they give us the right knowledge and the association. Of course, they give the association, but they don't actually consider themselves very great. They're humble, niskinchana, they don't have any material desires. That's why it's mentioned in that verse by Prahlad Maharaj, they should be niskinchana. They should be what kind of devotees? Have no material desires, not for name and fame. Those people who are attracted for name, fame, the followers and more disciples and this and that, they can't free us from Maya. Because they are themselves trying to get happiness in these material things. So that's why in the previous verse, Prabhupada said, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadish kamaye, mama janmani janmanishware, bhavatad bhaktir ahetu kirtvai. Not for these purposes that one performs devotional service. Devotional service is not meant for these things. Devotional service is meant for to please Krishna. So a person actually a great devotee will not engage people in their own service. Of course, they want to serve the devotees, others, but they will always engage others in the service of Krishna. And Krishna's devotional service will free us from the influence of Maya. So that's why it's important to take shelter of such great devotees, because if not, let's say, for example, if he had taken shelter instead of taking shelter of the Brahmanas to get a good son, if he had taken shelter of the sadhus, he would have no desires at all, no desires at all. He will only, just like we see the Prachetas, we see all this taking shelter of Naradji and other devotees taking shelter of Naradji. They did not have, even Dhruv Maharaj, when Lord came, he became freed from all the desires. So because of shelter of Naradji, and here because they don't have actually proper guidance, it's only someone doing a yajna for them for something material. That's why this is actually for Nabi Maharaj. So that's why he is actually asking for such a boon. Of course, a boon is good, but he's wanting to have a son like the Lord and not the Lord. Hare Krishna. Thank you, all the devotees. And we don't have that much of time, otherwise we could have discussed more on this topic. But if you have any questions, please do ask. We can spend another few minutes on questions.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for another wonderful class. Prabhuji, are you able to explain a bit more, elaborate a bit more on Maya? Because I'm just thinking that the Lord is in the heart as Paramatma. So the Lord is in the heart as Paramatma. So he already knows the situation of the living entity. He knows the situation of all living entities. So what is the need to test somebody when the Lord is already in the heart and knows the situation of the individual living entity and knows their weaknesses, knows their desires? Because ultimately it's the Lord that's fulfilling the desires anyway. So then what is the need to test? Why not just allow somebody to gradually develop or purify themselves? So
Why does Lord let this
So
happen. Being
no, no,
in
no, no, no. So my question is really about Maya. So what is the position of Maya? What is the actually need of Maya when the Lord is, as Paramatma, is already in the heart and knows the living entity? So what is the need of Maya to test a living entity?
it's very much like, it is very much like if someone is coming to a country, it's very much like X-ray. It's very much like the X-ray system that we have to go through, so that we don't actually bring anything illegal in the country, right? We are coming through, and then so that they're checking, you are taking this, taking any arms or any knife or this and that, any drugs, any, so that we don't take things which are, so Maya's job is just to test us and purify us. That's why it's mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam at the beginning, that Vyasdev at the beginning, after Naraji actually instructs, after Naraji had instructed, yeah, please do take prasadam before you go. Yeah, please do take prasadam before you go, and thank you for joining us, and have a nice trip back. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Thank you, Prabhuji and Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yeah, so in the beginning, in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned when Naraji lives, then Vyasdev actually fixes his mind on the Lord. Fixes his mind on the Lord, and then he sees the Lord, the living entities, and he's seeing how, because of the influence of Maya, they are suffering in this world, right? And then considering themselves to be this body, and by which they are suffering, and then Naraji sees also the Vyasji also sees the solution also. He sees Lord, living entity, and the Maya, all three, by the influence of Maya. And then he sees the solution, which is Srimad Bhagavatam. So the Maya is actually there to test us, to purify us. Purification is the main thing, just to make sure that we are purified and we don't, we are fully purified before we go to the spiritual world. Like we have in the Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna is saying, and the qualifications of the person who can actually go to the spiritual world. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha dvandvair vimukta sukha dukkha sangir gacchantya mudha padamavyayam tat. Lord Krishna is saying this. All these things are mentioned here, even sukh and dukh. If we are interested in sukh and dukh, we are interested and affected by the dukh, and all these things actually, these are things which make us disqualified to go to the to Krishna Lok. Because let's say you have some desires, for example. If you have some desires and if you don't get purified from the desires, you can't be in the spiritual world, because you still have material desires. You need to get freed from the material desires. You're still finding enjoyment in the material world. How can you become qualified to go there? So the Maya's job is, the illusory energy of the Lord is to purify us. But when we become devotees of the Lord, then in that case, the Maya is, then we are controlled by the other Maya. Lord Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, Mahatmanas tu mam partha daivim prakriti mashrita. Then we become controlled by the divine energy of the Lord, the Yogamaya. And then we are guided, we are protected, we are guided. So then we become on the right path. And the degree to which we surrender, the degree to which we are that same degree, we are controlled by the divine energy of the Lord. That's why it's mentioned here, tamam prapadante tam tadeva bhajamyam. So as we get closer and closer to Krishna, we are getting away and away from Maya. That's why Maya and Krishna Surya Sama, Maya hai andhakar. So that's why that verse is there. Jahan Maya, Jahan Krishna Surya Sama Maya andhakar, Jahan Surya, where there is influence of Surya, Maya nahi adhikar. There is no adhikar for. Jahan Krishna taha Maya nahi adhikar, something like that. Yes. So there is no control of Maya there. So it depends. That's there. Something is there to always test us. And testing only happens until such a time that when we get purified. When we get purified, when Lord Krishna has understood that, yeah, this soul is pure, sincere soul, wanting to come closer to me, then all the arrangements should be made by Krishna. But there is also testing there also. So much testing we have to go through. Pandavas had to go through so much also. Even being devotees, even Prahlad was tested so much. And Haridas Thakur being beaten in so many marketplaces. Even Dhruv was tested. All this, we have to go through some test also. Just for our own purification actually. So that we get purified. Sometimes when the test comes, we actually get very, very disturbed and we don't want the test. And so we start responding in a way that will not actually help us in devotional service. Okay. Yeah, we can discuss more. Yeah, we don't have that much time because we have to conclude it. Yeah. So in the afternoon also we have a class at Sashi Prabhu's place, so it's not to join. So yeah, thank you. In the evening, yeah, at 7 p.m. But I think the program will start a little bit earlier. There will be dinner and then after that. So thank you all the devotees. Shri Shri Radha Girdhari Bhagwan ki jai, Shri Shri Gaunitaya Bhagwan ki jai, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Bhakta Hanuman ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you all the devotees. Thank you all the devotees joining us through Zoom as well. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Dhanotpana. Vanchakalpatarabhyascha.
Survasya kripa sindhu bhayavacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namo Ananta Koti Vaishnav Brinda ki jai. His Holiness Govinda Madhav Prabhu ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.